So nobody can know this. This is not knowable. Nothing is knowable. The me thinks it understands, it knows. I know what things are. I know what money is. I know what people are. But it only knows labels. So the me's world is one of imagination. And you can imagine anything, right? This is so free that anything. So there are no rules to this. There's no logic. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no because. There's no becoming. There's just simply what's happening. So you could say there's no escape from just what's happening. But there's nothing separate to escape. There's nothing separate to become anything. There's nothing a part of this that is not already this. The fact that something thinks it's not this is imagination. So all is imagined. So that's why here at this meeting, there's no advice given. You're not given any practices, right? No mantras. Because there's just what's happening. What are you going to practice to get to just what's happening? So it turns out there's only always been just what's happening. So all the stories, the memories, the history, all of that is imagined. There's none of that is here. There's no place for stories here. You can imagine them. You can imagine anything. Not saying it's wrong. Of course it's not wrong. How could imagination be wrong? How could it be right? So there's nowhere to get to. That's the illusion. The me imagines that there's somewhere else. There's some better place. There's somewhere it can get to, where Shangri-La, heaven, wholeness, peace. Call it what you will. But that's all imagined because there's only this. And so this imagines that it's a me, and then it imagines there's a place it can get to. But you may notice it never gets there. It never lasts. It never, ever lasts. Whatever plan me comes up with. So in that sense, it doesn't matter what you do, what the body does. it doesn't matter because it's still this. So if you go left, it's this. If you go right, it's this. If you talk, it's this. If you don't talk, it's still this. And in a way, the freedom is that when you see that it's all this, you can really get into stories. They can become juicy. They can be like a movie. Isn't a movie just a story? Somebody thought up a story and then acted it out. So that's all that's being experienced is stories. There's just story, 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 but there's actually nothing here. So there's nothing doing the story. There's nothing causing the story. There's nothing that needs the story. There's no reason for the story, and that's a story. So stories don't get you anywhere. They don't actually move anything anywhere. It's the illusion that I'm progressing. And it's fine. You know, it can seem like there's progression on the spiritual path. Oh, I seem to get it. It's what Nkosi is saying is clear to me now. Yeah, that can appear as an appearance, sure. But it's not for anybody. Nobody owns that experience. There's no real person that got closer to something or farther away. Because there's not two things. What's getting closer to what? What's getting farther from what if it's all this? But all this doesn't look like the me thinks it should look, right? That's the problem. This doesn't look how I need it to be. So the me has like a perspective and it just, you know, it wants that. It's like an addiction, right? I'm addicted to more. I'm addicted to better. I want new and improved. Just this? This is Zoom? This miracle? Right here, this is the miracle. This right now, this my voice. You looking at this is the miracle, looking. It gets filtered through a thought that says this is mundane, this is boring. And so that feeling seems real. There's really something called boring. Like it really exists. But look now, can you find something called boring in this right here? Just take a look around you. Is there anything you could house? So I've said a lot and I've said nothing. It's an open meeting. You're all welcome to participate. Please feel free to unmute and jump in.
Michael, lately, you know, when I see the projection, I just see the screen. And you know, the me wants to process what it's looking at. So that takes out a lot of the processing, which de-stresses you, I believe.
Yeah, well, one of the things, Leighton, that Dan and I talk about is the me is a user.
Mm-hmm.
So all it can do is try and use this moment to propel itself toward its goal as it imagines.
Right.
So it's trying to use the moment. It sounds crazy, I know. So what is isn't a user. What is isn't trying to use this moment to get somewhere. So you don't really go anywhere. You never move. I've told that story about the time I was in the car wash and I slammed my foot on the brake. The car was, it's one of those you drive in at a gas station into a box. And once the water and the brushes and everything started moving around me, I slammed my foot on the brake. Oh my God, my car is moving. It was so convincing. And then I started laughing. But for about a second, there was sheer terror as I thought I was rolling into machinery blindly, that I wasn't going to be able to stop. It was like the best horror show. Because my heart, it was completely legit. Like it was nothing about it. It seemed off. Like it really felt real. That's how convincing the dream is. So freedom is talked about here at this meeting in that it's already the case. It's already the case. The me has this grandiose idea that the me, check it, it's going to go find freedom. You guys stay here. I'll be back. I'm going to go hunt down the freedom. I'll bring it back for you. I'll pass it out. Completely overlooking the idea that the freedom is already always here and nothing need be done already.
I remember the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, as a proper me, Leighton, I'll just ignore that advice and continue trying to fix it. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm laughing, but it's so sad how we just stress and just kill ourselves, oh, I want to be free so bad. There's this aching and the idea that it's already the case. It's the idea that there's something here that could seek. That's the illusion, that there's something separate that's able to seek and then find. That's all in story and maybe a feeling, but it's not real. So there's no, oh, sorry, Maureen, go ahead.
No, please. Are you sure?
I was just going to say there's no denial of the feeling. If whatever shows up is it. So there could be a feeling like, I'm just not quite there yet. That's just a feeling and that's completely fine.
I was just going to share, I had something that actually struck me as kind of fun, and it reminded me a lot of my interaction with Dawn that time in the meeting, even though there's no past. But but I was with a friend, and they were speaking in a lot of stories about a variety of things, you know. I mean, and it all just was going in a particular way. And then for whatever reason, which I normally don't do at all, like the characters started talking about non-duality.
You're a brave soul, Maureen.
A soldier for non-duality.
Wow.
I don't even know. I have no idea why that even happened, because it's generally really simple, just to be quiet, you know, to just hang out and you know, just whatever is happening. But anyway, for some reason, I probably spoke about it for maybe 2 minutes or so, and it was just fantastic. Like, he absolutely unloaded on me and just said, you know, I was completely full of shit, and you know, and I love my friend, and you know, I don't care what he thinks I'm full of shit. But after he said that, it just occurred, oh my God, of course, you know, like, and I don't mean, oh, I'm a terrible person or any of that. I just mean, oh, of course I'm full of shit. Yeah, like everything gets included. But it was weird. There was no sting to it. There was no even idea that it was happening to me personally. It was just like, oh, of course. And I said, gosh, I so appreciate, you know, you sharing that reflection. Yeah, I really do feel like
Yeah.
I'm full of shit right now. Like, what am I even talking about?
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't know. There was something really fun about it. Yeah. So
So doing and not doing. So the me is all about doing. I got to be productive. Don't want to waste time. But doing and not doing are both stories. This doesn't have any story to it. If it did, it would be limited. It would be a something.
but Michael, doesn't anything like that, I mean, this just occurring, doesn't anything like that, isn't it true that it is true and it isn't true, or it is and it isn't? I'm not talking about truth. I mean, that's bullshit too, but like, like when we say there is no story to this, well, there is a story and there isn't a story, you know, like, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it just, I don't know, it seems like,
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying, Maureen. So yeah, absolutely. Stories appear in this.
yeah.
Countless stories. Countless. Inconceivable. Story after story. There's nothing but story. That's all we have as the stories. There's nothing. And then nothing is appearing as these amazing stories. So they're stories. So that's the real part, Maureen, right? They're real as stories. We're real. You know, you could say right now, Michael is talking at the Zoom meeting. You could say that, right? It's a story though, because like you said, the other side of that is it's unreal. There's nobody talking here. Michael's not talking. Michael's a name. It's a label. I notice I'm not the only one with the name Michael. So there's nothing personal here. There's nothing personal. Nobody owns speaking. Nobody owns listening. Nobody owns getting angry. Nobody owns getting stressed.
I guess the stories are as real as you and me, huh?
Yeah, yeah. There you go. You could, yeah, you could say that. Because without you, where's the story?
Yeah. Oof.
So there can be the appearance of someone there that knows something. It can feel like that I know X, Y, and Z. So we're not denying that. That's what I'm saying. It can definitely feel like there's stuff that you could know. But what's also being shared here is there's nothing to know and no one to know it already. So that's where you can imagine anything. So they're going to be this play of imagination, and it has no rules, no boundaries, no limits. So it's horrifying. It's it's everything.
This thought came through recently that said the dissolution of the imagined me is a lot like attending your own funeral, where there's no death and there's no you. I don't know where that even came from, but it's very funny to me.
Yeah, you know, Maureen, I have to say things do get a lot lighter when you see that they're empty. Like you know, you can see, and even if you do get upset, so what? Like, who cares? That can happen too. So that's the thing, is there's no rules to this. So if you get upset, like especially if you think you're spiritual, oh God, there's nothing worse than somebody, you know, losing their temper and being spiritual and feeling guilty. That's purgatory.
Hey, Michael, what's that big black bear that's behind you?
Big black bear.
Yeah, I haven't seen him before.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Does
Oh,
it-
the thing on the ground?
oh, that's what it is. When you put your chair up, it looks like.
Oh, okay. Yeah. My sister is visiting from San Diego. She was kind enough to drive me to the urologist today. I'm happy to report I had a kidney stone removed today. And yeah. Other men are going, geez, are you okay? Yeah, it's pretty painful, and peeing for the next few days is going to be painful. But I'm very happy that the urologist, this young guy, 35-year-old, was able to put a scope down there and see the stone. And they have technology where they can actually remove it, like grab it, and then pull it right out, avoiding surgery. Because he said, I'm going to try and save you surgery today. I'm like, go for it, doc. And it hurt. I'm not going to lie to you. He's got a camera scope down there, a good 12 inches. And then he's got a piece of metal, steel with a hook on the end. And you're watching this on the monitor. And it was like rooting for him because I could see the little white ball. It was the size of a tiny pea. Looked like a piece of, you know, dried concrete or calcium that had calcified into a little ball. And it was like he kept dropping it. So now I'm like at a baseball game, you know, rooting. Come on, you can get it. You can, come on, Doc. So on the 10th one, like he says the assistant, close it. So she's operating the closing basket. So she closed it, and then he pulled it all the way, yanked it out. I'm screaming like a pig, a stuck pig on the table. Ah. And he goes, I got it. And I look at it and I go, can I touch it? And it was hard. It was a hard little calcified ball that was now out of my system. So I was so happy.
Didn't you
They
get
don't
anesthetic?
anesthetize you?
They do, Zoe. The nurse comes in and puts some clear gel down there, but it only goes so far, and that all the work was done.
It's like
It-
giving birth. Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically inside your bladder.
Oof.
So there's no anesthetist inside.
Ah,
You just gotta suck it up.
well, it reminded me when you were describing that, like those games where you try to
what
get
it
the
was.
toy and
It was that. That's exactly what I was trying to describe. Because he would grip it, and then she put the basket, and it would drop. It would slip out. Ah. And meanwhile, right, every slip is more pain for Michael, right? The Michael character. So I'm like, come on. I'm like, you got this. You got this. I did. I high-fived him afterwards when he got it out. Yeah.
Mm.
So that's a great example. Sorry for the experience you had to have, but it's an example. I'd say that, so it's all a story, and what you went through today was a story, but it was definitely felt by you, definitely. And it was a story by no one. Everything was everything's story. But had I been there, I would have been put under. I wouldn't have felt anything because I know the medical system. Okay, I would have. Now here's the thing, and that would have been the story of that. What is it's everything is doing it. Why would everything have in the story you as the character having more pain with that particular procedure, and me wouldn't have even felt it because of the medication? So if everything is running it, it's everything, the story is by no one, it's just everything. Why would it have one story there and one story here? And do we have any control over that story so that it appears in this illusion or whatever, that it's more comfortable?
You're asking me why this is happening?
Probably because Don.
Yeah, well, why you'd have that experience and I would have a different experience because of knowledge that I have.
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, I was just going to say, probably because Don's medical insurance is better.
You know, you would think that, Dan, but my radiologist told me that actually the Medi-Cal patients have it way better because pretty much everything I submit gets approved.
Mhm.
Not so with insurance companies that's paid.
Still,
Right, but yeah, I mean, we just have total, like, I don't know, Michael, you were talking more, I mean, before about freedom, how the stories are, there's so much freedom there. There are just so many possible variations in every story. And, who knows how it's going to turn out and why one is going to be one way and another is going to be another. I mean,
and we have nothing to say about that. There's no, it's
who's
going to
we,
happen.
Don?
It's going to happen. No, I'm really serious. It's going to happen the way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So why would one do anything?
Well, and then
I mean, we seem to think we have some power.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
think
yeah.
we
So
seem
that-
we have choice. Well, why would we do that since it's not going to help? It's not going to, if we think we have choice and we choose the way we think we do, it's not going to, it's all an illusion. So it's not going to happen. So why would one even make any kind of quote medical, we'll keep it medical, make a medical decision? Why would one make a medical decision? Doesn't make any difference. Everything is going to determine if you get an illness and how you're going to get cured, if you're going to get cured.
So there's no one to decide whether or not you get the insurance or not. There's no one to decide whether you're gonna, ask for, this or that. There's already. So everything is speaking. So there's only everything. So everything.
right. But
Can't
that's
be,
only part of the story, because the other part of the story is that there's a feeling of having a choice and making choices. As you were saying, Don, you know, why would we do this, so to speak? Well, there isn't anybody doing anything, but there, as the story, there is a feeling of somebody being there and making choices and trying to make it come out good and trying to make it come out as, you know, the best way I can. There's that, that's part of the story, you know? And without that, there's, you know, there's no story, right? Without all of the characters playing the roles of,
Well, it's everything
the
playing,
story.
it's everything playing every role.
Yeah. But part of it is the feeling of being a character in a situation and having some control, a feeling of that. You know, even if it's just, what do I want for breakfast, you know, or, you know, that's it's part of the way the stories appear.
Yeah, there's no rules to this. The
Well,
story
it's,
could appear.
it's kind of like doing two things
It
at once.
could appear anyway. There's
Yeah,
no
it's,
rules and there's no knowing what's about to appear. That's the thing. The me thinks it knows. So it's already in knowing. You could say the me starts off as knowing. Go ahead, Dan.
well, I was just saying it's part of, I mean, in a way, it's like doing two things at once, which is just another story. It's a description, a story of how the stories are. But I mean, it's like in what there's nothing going on, nothing happening, no story, but at the same time, there is the story and the feeling of something going on and something being at stake. And, you know, how is this going to turn out? It's like moving and not moving at the same time. And there's two things somehow dancing together. But there's no person there, which is kind of the main theme of what we talk about here, which is just kind of responding to the fact that, you know, there's an ordinary experience of a person that seems to be really real, you know, it seems to be over real. So we kind of maybe are putting it into all that into a perspective.
Yeah, but there is no perspective. That's the thing. There's no rules. There's no understanding. There's nothing to get. There's nothing to know. Nothing to, because there's no one here to get anything. Where would you, you know? It's all imagined. It's amazing. And so whether this is seen or not doesn't matter, as Nkosi's always saying. It just doesn't matter to this, whether this is seen, because there's nobody here already. So who is there to see anything? But again, this is the end of specialness. And the me is nothing if not special. I mean, what's more special than me?
There's nothing more special than you, Michael, Jeff.
Zoe. Oh my God. Yes, on behalf of all me's, I accept the Academy Award. So that's it. Like, you can be, when there's not anyone here, because the me is, right? Okay. The me is serious because it feels life and death to the me. And so when that contracted energy, or whatever you want to call it, loosens up, releases, I don't even have words for it. But when there's just this, and it's seen that that imagined character that you took yourself to be your whole friggin' life was an imagined dream happening to no one. It never. And so you can join the party. You can play. You know, when I'm, screaming like a stuck pig on the urologist, bed, I wasn't going, well, there's no one here. I told him, go ahead, you do what you need to do and just ignore my sobbing and cries of pain. So when you are, I would say, I don't have a better word, but I'll just say you're appropriate for the situation. You're not trying to be anything. If something hurts, you scream. If the pain is too much, you may cry. But it's not you deciding to do that. It's just what's happening.
So I'm getting so confused. So there's just what's happening. I get that. Because it happened. It is happening. It happened. You can say, well, this is what happened. But so it just happens. Everything is just happening the way it's happening. But it's being happened by the everything.
Right, but they're not two.
Right. Okay. Okay. The everything is the happening. Then if everything is the happening, then when we talk about the imagined dream that is happening to no one, that is the everything also. And therefore the imagined dream is nothing or everything. And so the imagined dream is wholly or whole in that way. So I'm just objecting to the thing of imagined dream, like it's imagined, it's a dream, it's like nothing in the sense of nothing, as opposed to no thing. And we don't know the everything if the everything, as it is imagining all of this, that the everything does not have, we don't know, I don't know, that we don't know if it doesn't have a purpose for how it's imagining your experience today or my experience today, or we don't know if there's something, if there's like an intelligence in the
Don?
everything that's doing this.
Do you mind? Can I jump in?
Absolutely.
So the way you're talking, check this.
Yeah.
You're talking about the everything as if it were some object somewhere.
Okay. Keep going.
Well, there's just nothing like that. You're saying that the everything, referring to it as if it were
Okay.
this everything object that's located somewhere.
Okay. So correct me in how you would say it, what I'm trying to say.
Well, just that there aren't two things. The one talking is the everything. That's the everything talking right now. So they're not two.
But then there's no imagination either, I would assume. Because there's no imagination, there's just this one thing. So there's no imagination either, and there's no illusion either, and there's no dream either. There can't be.
Well, as Nkosi says, nobody can know this because there's only this. Welcome, Nkosi.
Well,
And Jose.
Nkosi.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, Nkosi, welcome. Maybe you could say a few words. Nobody can know this because there's only this.
Yeah, yeah, already, yeah, there is nobody here to know anything. I would say it is just a knowing, also appearing as somebody who wants to know. So any question may arise here, any answer may be given, anything may happen, but there's no door behind anything, behind all things. There's just this appearing as everything. So all there is this. No matter which shape or form it may appear to be, it's just the totality already. There's nobody here to become anything. There's nobody to disappear. There's just this. And what seems to be happening right now is not personal, because there's no person here. And it's not happening to somebody. It's just what seems to be happening. All thoughts, all sensations, all movements, all wandering, all searching. It's just wholeness appearing as that already. And here right now, there's nobody who knows this. There's no one who's talking. There's just talking happening. And it's not directed. It's not a personal message that is directed to certain somebody. It's just talking happening. So this is beautiful as it is. And this doesn't mind. Anything may arise here. So there's really nothing to get. There's really nowhere to get to. There's really nothing to be done. Because all there is this. And this is not moving. What seems to be a movement may appear. But it's just an appearance. There's no real movement. So there's no you already. Not that's an individual, because of what is being spoken will eventually collapse. An individual is already not there. So there's nobody to collapse here. There's nobody to disappear already. There's just this appearing as everything. And this is going nowhere. And this isn't a thing that can be pointed to. Because even what seems to be the pointer is already this. So all there is this. Yeah, it's
Beautiful.
beautiful.
If anybody has any comments or questions? See, comments and questions don't matter because nothing's getting anywhere. So it's fine. Questions are fine. Answers are fine. No answers are fine. No questions are fine. It's just a play. It's funny, people pay a lot of money to go to plays in New York, I hear. Right? People pay $300 a ticket to go see a play, and here it is.
Mhm.
All these characters here, Maureen, Alice, Zoe, Nkosi, Dan, Don, Michael, Leighton, everybody here playing a seemingly separate role, but only in appearance.
Nkosi, hi. I've heard people say several times that 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 say something apparently disappears, and they'd say beforehand they'd have an idea that if this disappears, that will mean this. But of course, like there's nothing there. Like the part that thinks in opposites, it isn't like that. It's not opposites because that's separation, right? I mean, one thing happening doesn't mean something else, really, does it?
Yeah, there is no separation already. And there is nothing to disappear because there's nothing separate from anything here. There may be an imagination that's arising in this, that's claimed to be somebody who's not getting it, but that's just an imagination. It's just an imagination. It's already not there. The separate self is imaginary, so it's already not there. It's just an imagination, and nobody is doing it. Nobody is imagining. It's just what seems to be appearing in this, appearing as an imagination. That there is a real somebody who's living life, who will die one day. That's just a thought. Also appearing in this vastness as this. So as Michael said, it's a play. It's a play. These appearing as different characters who are searching for itself. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And when you say there is no one already, that actually can't be known. Right? I mean,
Exactly.
yeah,
There's nobody to know already.
yeah,
And this doesn't know anything. There's nobody here who knows how life works. There's nobody here who knows anything.
yeah.
There's just emptiness. There's just talking happening. And it's not directed to somebody because there's just one thing here, which is this. It's not really a thing that can be pointed to. It's just everything. So no one can point to everything because there's just everything. How can you point to everything? Everything can't be pointed to because there's just everything. So, so everything is okay. Everything is beautiful. Somebody who wants to know is already everything. Somebody who's giving an answer is already everything, appearing as that. Not getting it is already everything, appearing as that. Giving up is already everything, appearing as somebody who's giving up. So there's just this.
So everything is appearing as this. So at the moment, I'm heavily confused, and to me, this is at the moment crazy stuff, although I'm highly attracted to it. So it's just that everything is confusion here. Everything is confusion and crazy, period. Right? And 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 I don't know, anything more or anything less than anybody else.
Yeah, already there's nobody here to know anything, to become anything. There's nobody here to get it or not get it. There's just this. It may appear as anything.
And that's beautiful. However it appears is beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful for nobody. It's all there is.
I've asked this before. Give me a different word than beautiful. If I think of beauty, so if I'm confused now, this feels confused, and you say it's beautiful, my mind goes, well, it's not beautiful. So I'm looking for a word that would more allow me or allow this confusion to be here, as opposed to beautiful.
Well, beautiful, it's just a word, but this is beyond words. This is wordless already.
Okay.
Yeah, it's already wordless. It's already here.
It'll
Even
never,
without words.
sorry, Nkosi, it'll never be figured out in the mind. So a little, it's more like drop out of your head for a second, Don. Like let's concede whatever your, whatever your mind is trying to figure out at this moment.
Okay, but hold on one second. I'll try that, but that's where I get confused. So if my mind is, if I'm all up in my mind right now, yes. But to say, this is where I get confused. If to say, well, drop, get out of my head, and I understand what you're saying. Being in the head is this. So why anything else isn't valid in that space? Nothing else is valid because I'm in the head,
Yeah,
trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
And that is this. And therefore it should be, that is this, no more to be done. If I try to get out of my head, that's like trying to meditate to get calm or something.
right.
So I keep going though.
Yeah. So sticking your finger in acid is this too. So there's not a reason why for you to stay in the head thinking, and there's no one there already to do it. But it's just a suggestion, like a very light suggestion. Is just to, like Nkosi calls it, dropping into your heart. I would say you could drop into your body. So right now, if you could take your energy that's sort of vibrating up here and just let it drop. And again, these are all words. This is just a story and there's already no one there. So we're not talking about somebody doing this, but
Yes, that works. But that's a practice. I would call that a practice. But there's,
right.
on
So
one hand,
you
we're
were-
not supposed to be practicing, but you gave me a beautiful practice there. I got it. I appreciate it. But
No,
from
no,
the head to the body was I'm going to call it a practice.
I
that
know.
you all- No.
I know. But I'm saying, instead of labeling it, just do it.
Okay, I'm with you, but that's when you say just do it,
Yeah,
that's referring to a me over here.
I know.
I'm with you. I'm not trying, I'm not trying to fight here. As you get, I'm really
Oh, I
trying
know.
to.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good. Yeah.
No, I
But
Don,
when you say
Don.
do that, then that there's a me that can do it.
I know, but you're analyzing.
Okay. Let me go back here. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm saying just drop into your heart, meaning just don't, instead of right now being anxious about what can be figured out,
Right.
can we just drop, just softly? Just feel the body. Where are your feet right now? Where are your feet?
One's under my leg, one's on the floor.
All right, let's be with our feet since they're actually here.
Yeah, but my question is, who's doing that? There's nobody here, so who's doing that, or what's doing that? I'm doing it in the way that I think I'm doing it, the way you're speaking it, but I'm not here, so who's doing that?
Yeah, nobody is.
Then, and you're not talking to me, so does it make sense what I'm trying to say, even though it's all out of my head and stuff like that? Do you understand what I'm trying to say, even if it's incorrect?
Well,
Or-
Don, I don't
Is it-
think it can be known. I don't think it can even be asked about or can be known because there's no one there. It's unknowable. I mean,
That's I resonate with that, but it's hard to take that as an answer, to be honest. I resonate with it.
Wait a second.
To
Did
say
you?
it's unknowable is like, okay, somebody comes to me and says, well, I'm hungry, I need some food. Well, oh, it's unknowable. I don't know.
Right.
What do you mean you need food? I mean, and I resonate with it at the same time.
Right. So Don,
Yeah.
you're at the beginning of this meeting. Do you remember I was saying this meeting doesn't answer anything?
Right.
So I wasn't kidding.
Now, and also what I'm getting is, when you were thinking about your feet, they're not yours. You're claiming that they are, but then you're saying, well, who, then you're in the mind. So your body is like an avatar.
Well, so what I'm kind of pointing at, and this is kind of right, kind of crazy, but in a way, your feet are more here than you are. Because you can point to your feet, you cannot point to you. Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening?
I want to thank everybody for not being here.
Anytime, Leighton.
It's been great not seeing you guys. Thank you, everyone, to each and every one of you. We love and appreciate everyone. Thank you, Nkosi, as always. No words. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Right.
Right.